Hello and a warm welcome from rainy Berlin. So far it's been, let's say, a rather modest summer, but never mind. Today isn't about the weather. I'd like to present you with my update, specifically for the Snare Roll Generator tool. What's it all about? In general, it's about the fact that when you want to create drum and especially snare transitions, you always have to edit them in a time-consuming and annoying way. And in the end, it always turns out the same anyway. Placing note states, 16ths, 30 seconds, and I wanted to link a script with a Bitwig instrument in such a way that I'll have less work to do with it in the future. And this is what came out of it. Let me show you. I called it Snare Roll Generate. You can just load it in here, and with it, this is the instrument. Basically, it consists of 3 instruments combined in an instrument selector, which is automated by the script. I'll show you that in a moment. And behind it, on the one hand, is the Bitwig 5.9 snare drum module. And you can simply activate each individual parameter here using these buttons. And then, using the curves here, you can draw them accordingly. Exactly, and this replaces the annoying process of having to select the pitch in the automation lane each time and then draw it in. Instead, you can do it much more conveniently. You can handle it right here. In any case, here are the individual parameters that you can activate. And as soon as they are activated, you can see here that modulation appears, and the modulation is controlled here via the curve. And then you can use this to control individual modulations accordingly. Exactly. And the nice thing is the whole process works in such a way that there is a matching script to support it, which also generates the MIDI notes for you. Previously, I did this here using the note generation tool and then with repetitions, but that's relatively inflexible. And now, in addition to this module here, you can also load the matching Snare Roll Generator script. This means that if you change the bars here, the corresponding generate will also automatically switch after generation. That's because the bar length is stored here. You see here 2 bars, then every parameter here is also set to 2 bars. Automatically, and with 4, it's set to 4 bars accordingly, because then the block length is 4 bars. And ideally this should be automated. And I managed to do that. I'll show you how. So first of all, the very first step is simply to draw in blocks here. I select them. I'm intentionally set to 4 bars here, but I switch to 2 here, bars. And then I select the pattern type here. In other words, it should just generate linear notes like a typical drum roll for a transition. And right here, you can also add dehumanization. So how accurately is it placed on the grid, or how much is it shifted to sound more human? There's also the option here to change the individual volumes, the velocities. I'll just leave that on the default setting, where this should happen flanger or launcher. Exactly, and now I just click on General Snare Roll. You have to select it here beforehand, General Snare Roll, and as you can see what happened. Here are the corresponding notes written out, and you can also see the velocities here, which just go up in a standard way. And maybe you're wondering why there's a second note up here, a longer note that's also included. That's a trigger note which isn't played audibly but is used down here to switch the select. And as soon as I play this now, you'll see it automatically jumps up here. It switches to 2 bars because this trigger sets it off. All right, now I put on my headphones so I can hear something too. Then let's play the whole thing briefly. I'll turn on a loop here. Exactly, as you can hear now, it's precisely the selected parameters that are being modulated. There's one more thing I forgot to explain. So all of this refers to the parameters of this module here. You can see that too, right? Pitch, decay, snappiness, drive, click, tone. And behind that, I've also added some audio effects. So as you can see here, there's a whole bunch of audio effects in the chain. Right now they're deactivated, but they can also be activated automatically via this front panel here. That means if I turn on the flanger now, then back here as well, the flanger is automatically turned on here, and it too is then controlled by this modulation curve. Just like with any transition, riser or snare roll, it's usually paired with an audio effect. Whether it's a high-pass filter, low-pass filter or whatever else, you can also activate that here as an extra option. Activate, but for now I'll just leave high-pass and saturation on, flanger off. And at the moment we're only modulating pitch and tone, so let's listen to that again briefly. Exactly, now here, if here with the pitch, you can hear it most clearly. Yeah, and you can see how quickly and easily you can change the parameters. Now I'll also turn on key snappiness. Click, drag, and add some more effects. And here you can also mix in the dry, wet of all the effects at once. Add it in. Or also turn them on and off globally. Exactly, that's the principle of the drum module, and I'll show you again here how it works. For example, if I go to 4 bass here, then do the same with generate, and when I play it, it automatically switches here, 4 bass, you see. And with that, you have full control, including each respective effect. Everything is on. 4 bass is synced, so you don't have to worry at all about whether the length is correct or not. And the same applies to 8 as well. And then here I'll just stick with 2 bass for now. And here you have various pre-made Midi patterns that determine the snare rolls. And these are standard things which I will continue to expand. But for now, I'll just show you what's already there. This is the linear one, which we just heard. Let's try exponential, select exponential, generate. You see here 4. I press play. And it switches to 2. And of course now it also has a different MIDI line. Exactly. Now I'll turn off the entire overkill effect here. Okay, we can leave the reverb on, and now I'll show you a few more combinations here. There we go. And I can also show you how the volume behaves here under the dynamic settings. That was set to standard just now. Now I'll switch to wave intentionally and generate a snare roll. And if you look down here now, you'll see the velocity is in a kind of waveform here. And here you can set it to go up, down, or even partially accented. This adds another layer of variation on top of the MIDI notes. So I let it play ascending again and then add a classic fill. Generate, and here you go. Syncopated. I'll make it a bit faster. Triplets. Slams. Strokes. 40 BPM, but slowly. Double strokes, even faster. Now, of course, paradiddle. Yeah, basically I've now shown you all the features, the options for quickly turning effects on and off here, and how you can quickly manipulate each individual parameter. And I think it's a super handy tool, because how often are you in the editing process? And you just want a quick snare roll at that spot, and then it's always super annoying to have to edit each individual note and draw the automation lanes. And with this, you just have a simple, cool, fast tool. And as I said, I will definitely keep expanding the accompanying script with plenty of new pattern types from time to time. And yes, you can download it from my Patreon page. Thanks again for listening. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to share, like, and keep subscribing. And yes, as I said, if you're interested in more Bitwig content, you can also write in the comments what else you might want or which tools could be built, especially when it comes to note scripts. I'm really enjoying that at the moment. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.